Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and now that we have all the PLEs done in WWE for the year, I figured we'd rate them from a scale of A to F. I don't know why they decided to do A to F instead of S to D like they normally do. Whatever, it still fits the same. We are going to rate them on the best way we can, maybe talk about what's the worst and best match on some of them. I feel like I was gonna say this is in order, but I just realized it's not. So we'll have to slide it around as we go along, I guess, because I don't know why I thought it was. I should have checked it beforehand, but let's jump into it. So right off the bat, we had the Royal Rumble. This is kind of a divisive PLE because if you don't really like who won, it's kind of one of those things where you're not gonna like the PLE in general because of that. Obviously, I think the matches itself are is kind of fun to me. You get to see people coming back. You get to see, like legends and stuff. Like this is the type of thing where you want to have the legends appear. I know a lot of people are 50-50 on that. I think there's like sprinkle it in. I don't need 15 of, legends or like half the field or whatever you want of legends and people that aren't, doing anything. But if you have one or two spots, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I think that's basically what they did. Obviously, Jey Uso won on the men's side, which was the part that most people didn't enjoy about it. But I think the underrated part of this entire card, and because if you look at the whole, was the Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes match. I think that ladder match and was just brutal, and it was just good to be put into all of that. And I think that kind of saves the card in general for me. I put it in the middle of the road. I put it in C. Like I said, if you didn't like the winners, I'm a big Royal Rumble fan. It will always be one of my favorites. I like the just premise and stuff like that. And I'm gonna switch this back real fast to the normal scale because I don't know why it's screwing with my head. But we have it now. But so it'd be a B technically, just middle of the road. I think it's probably like I liked it and I really think it should be there, but it's like there's definitely stuff that was better and there was definitely stuff worse. So yeah, I think that's the perfect spot to put it. I'm trying to move some of this around. I don't remember the order of all things half the time because it's that way. Yeah. That looks about right. So next up, we had the Elimination Chamber. I think both chamber matches were really solid. Obviously, we had the John Cena heel turn that pretty much dominates when you think about this PLE. I think everything about it just worked really well. Every match otherwise is take or leave. I really do feel like the Elimination Chamber matches are just kind of really stuck to like you thinking about that. You don't think about the other card necessarily. It's like the same thing with the Royal Rumble, but I do believe with that Elimination Chamber, that glorious ending, it was great. But also like it's a low key moment, but like the Bianca Belair hair whip to live just lives rent free in my head. That sounded so nasty. And anytime I ever see Bianca, I just think about her just absolutely annihilating Liv with her hair. So I'm gonna put this in a solid A. I don't. I feel like there definitely could have been some better stuff, and there was definitely some worse stuff. Now WrestleMania. Now I really feel like the best case would have been to separate WrestleMania night one and two. But I guess if you put it as a whole as an event, I guess that's what we're gonna have to do. Same thing with SummerSlam, because I feel like night one was better than night two. Night two had obviously the John Cena Cody Rhodes match that was pretty ass. Uh, I think overall, like in the hindsight of things, it's really just okay. I've even seen in Cena's interviews, he's talking about like he kind of that was kind of what they were going for. They were kind of going for not the greatest match, so it would lead to everything else afterwards. And I guess that works. I just feel like for your last WrestleMania, this isn't the probably look back that you want. I feel like that would have been a okay premise somewhere else instead of here. So I'm gonna go with probably a C overall, which is kind of crazy because I feel like my match of the year with the Bianca, Rhea, and Io Sky match is probably in my top three matches of the year for the WWE. So it makes it very hard that this is on there, but the whole card kind of gets taken apart. There was a lot that wasn't great. The Gunther Jey Uso match wasn't anything special. War Raiders versus New Day didn't really ever work out for the future for that, and that's just a few of the things. Even Randy Orton versus Joe Hendry, I feel like I wasn't upset about the surprise of Joe Hendry. It was just more of the way that he kind of just got jobbed out there. He did save his momentum afterwards, which is pretty crazy, but I still think it's not the greatest moment. Next up, we have Backlash. This is a little bit more personally, like to me because I went there. This was my birthday present from my partner. They sprung for some tickets here because it's John Cena's last run, and we didn't think we would ever see him, which is actually valid because there would have been no other show that would have been close enough for us to see in TV, whatever you want to call it. So it worked out. So I'm happy about that. So this match altogether, I think, had some really good bangers on it. The Fatal 4-Way for the U.S. title was solid, not great, but it was still pretty solid. Lyra versus Becky absolutely killed it. And even Randy Orton versus John Cena as the main event, it worked out great. The crowd was pumped because obviously Randy Orton's hometown, and that there was a lot of going into this from TV, like if the with the two surprise RKOs and stuff. So I personally thought this PLE was pretty solid. I put it in B. I do think it's lower than Royal Rumble, but I do personally have it. Now I know my skills of rating this stuff is a little skewed when it's something I'm going to, because I obviously was there and was super more pumped than anything else, but I think it's still a solid way. Even the Pat McAfee Gunther match really was pretty solid overall. So I mean, I really can't complain about any of it. So next up, we have Money in the Bank. We obviously had our two Money in the Bank winners, which always are one of my favorite type of things. The men's Money in the Bank had a lot of cool spots in it. Obviously, Seth Rollins winning and later cashing in was phenomenal. So that was, if you look in the hindsight of it, made that match even better. On the women's side of things, Naomi winning, cashing in was also phenomenal. So like, they did a lot of good stuff there to make this solid. I just realized Evolution did come before that. Uh, my brain just ADHD down there. I just completely changed everything else. But I think Money in the Bank was just like an okay PLE because of that. I mean, there was all the outside matches were okay. They weren't anything too crazy, so I'll probably also put it in B. Still a solid PLE. So yeah, and as you can see, most of these have John Cena on it, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Night of Champions, obviously the big selling point of this was CM Punk versus John Cena. The rest of the card, I think, was up and down. The Saudi Arabia events are always just a little bit off for me because it just feels like the crowd's gotten better over the years, but it just still feels like, man, we could be bringing this to like Italy, or we could be bringing this to many of the other European countries that want to have a PLE so badly and just go absolutely crazy with it, as we saw Clash at Paris this year and stuff like that. Like, yeah, we should have gone somewhere like that. I think this would have been better. I put it in C. There was matches on there that felt at least better. Then we had Evolution. Honestly, no notes to a certain extent. This was just a banger card. We had Lyra versus Bailey versus Becky Lynch for the IC title. I thought was going to be easily one of the greatest matches on that card, and then surprisingly with the triple threat cash in at the end with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, that made that even better. I honestly think this is S tier because a lot of people think the worst match on there is the Battle Royale, and I think it's still okay. It's a Battle Royale. There's only so much that you can do with that, and I think they did okay. And everything else on that card with the Fatal 4-Way tag match was very interesting. It had some really good people in it. I think they shouldn't have had the NXT defended in the way that the NXT title, the way that they defended it. It wasn't the most solid aspect to it, but overall, if those are your two worst matches, I still really love that PLE. So hopefully they bring it back. I doubt they'll do it as a yearly thing, but honestly, if you do, I'm going to be eating good every year, so I'm perfectly fine with that. Then we get to SummerSlam. It was a 2-night event, which was the first of its kind. I honestly didn't think it necessarily needed that. I kind of think they ran out of steam with some of the feuds. This is obviously with Cody Rhodes and John Cena at the end, with Cody Rhodes getting his title back. not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like they kind of obviously wanted to turn Cena face again, so they jumped into that, and they did a lot of other different things. We had CM Punk beat Gunther, then get cashed in by Seth Rollins. Like there was a lot of iconic moments from SummerSlam. A lot of the matches overall were kind of ass, but I think for the iconic moments in themselves, I'd put it in B. Then we had Crown Jewel Perf. Obviously, we had the two Crown Jewel matches for the King and Queen of the Ring. Those were both pretty solid. Um, Stephanie really looked great. 'Cause wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't Stephanie there? God, I really have like bundled up the order of things. I think, even though like I've watched all of these feel. I think was Clash. Yeah, Clash of Paris was before Crown Jewel. I'm pretty sure. Let's go the Clash of Paris then, because that's when Stephanie won the title against Io Sky. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the order of things. Yeah, Clash of Paris. Obviously, Paris has been one of the most dominant places to have a PLE. This one had some funkier matches. The Roman Bronson Reed match wasn't really my thing. Like I said, Io versus Stephanie was good. And that's kind of like the high and low light of the match. I think overall, solid B. A lot of just Bs. Like I'll be honest, that's kind of how it's been this year. The stories haven't really caught up to the product sometimes, and then vice versa. But then we get to Crown Jewel. Like I said, what I was talking about with the King and Queen of the Ring finals, I thought both of those ended up pretty solid. Um, because like champion versus champion, that's what it is. Champion versus champion. What am I smoking? It was champion versus champion during that time. I don't. Why was I thinking it was the King of Queen? I forgot that. Yeah, just ignore me on that. We'll rewind it. But yes, the champion versus champion matches with Seth versus Cody and Stephanie versus Tiffany were both like good stories going into it. I mean, obviously, like they didn't get the build up as much on Tiffany and Stephanie, but the match I thought was pretty solid. And altogether, the I think the card was just one of the most solid ones that they had. So, and the tag match with the Kabuki Warriors and Rhea and Io was also really great. So we'll put that up in A. Then we got WrestlePalooza. Obviously, the Cena Lesnar match really made this whole thing stink. I think putting it off the way that they did it and all that, it really just put the rest of the card in a very bad spot. So I'm putting it down at D. And then we had Survivor Series War Games. It was another just D. It just kind of felt like both of those PLEs just really didn't do it. And I think a lot of people agree. I think the overall the year has been pretty solid. I put in a solid B. I mean, there were so many PLEs like that just had one or two matches. If you add the Saturday night main events, which I was going to add, it definitely makes the scale look a little bit heavier on the bottom because a lot of those Saturday night main events I think were D season Ds, which I could still probably end up doing a video with that, and maybe with the NXT ones or the AAA ones, we might do the whole product thing at some point. But yeah, that is my rating, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.